Jackie on Big Breakfast, Today FM, today's hit music.
Hey, I'm Pauline.
And I'm Alan. Tune in to the Breakfast Show on Today FM with Pauline and I every weekday morning
from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
right here on Today FM, today's hit music.
Today FM, today's hit music.
In this bulletin, Fiji presents report on human rights development to Human Rights Council. US student in court for allegedly using Facebook to intimidate another student. And Public Accounts Committee to analyze Auditor General's reports from Tuesday. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. The Attorney General Ayaside Qayyum says Fiji is committed to ratifying several international human rights treaties. Said Qayyum made the comment at the UN review of Fiji's human rights record in Geneva last night. Ellen Stolz has more.
The Attorney General is leading the government's delegation at the second Universal Periodic Review of Fiji human rights laws. In his presentation, Syed Qayyum says Fiji has accepted 97 of the 103 recommendations that were made in the first Universal Periodic Review.
The current report articulates the progress made towards the implementation of these recommendations. The Constitution of the Republic of Fiji, which came into force on 7 September of this year, is an expression of the will of the Fijian people. It enshrines fundamental principles and values such as a common and equal citizenry, secular state, the removal of systemic corruption, an independent judiciary, the elimination of discrimination, good governance, one person, one vote, one value, and the elimination of the legal enforcement of ethnic voting, values that should be aspired to universally.
Many countries speaking at the UN review of Fiji's human rights record in Geneva said Fiji should make it a priority to finally approve remaining treaties like the Convention Against Torture. Several also called on Fiji to allow into the country independent experts like the Special Rapporteur on Torture. Syed Qayyum told the Human Rights Council gathering approval for ratifying the treaties is up to Fiji's new parliament.
While there are no specific Fijian laws about the death penalty indirectly remains in the military code by virtue of the applicability of the United Kingdom Army Act of 1955, a legacy of our colonial history. However, the death penalty has never been implemented since at least independence some 44 years ago. I am pleased to announce today that in the next session of Parliament in the new year, the military code will be amended as a matter of priority to remove the reference of death penalty altogether, albeit it is there indirectly.
Chairman of the Media Industry Development Authority, Ashwin Raj, says he is pleased with the assistance and support Fiji was receiving.
As Fiji enters a new era of parliamentary democracy, I am pleased that UNDP has expressed its keen interest in collaborating with MIDA on training our media on reporting parliamentary debates. Given Fiji's commitment to social and economic rights, we also welcome the ILO's proposal to train our media on labor rights. These collaborative efforts between Fiji and the international community signal an encouraging positive step towards constructive engagement in advancing freedom of the press.
Another round of discussions will take place tomorrow night, where Fiji will give its rebuttal. Ellen Stolz, FBC News.
A 22-year-old US student who allegedly used Facebook to lure a girl into sending explicit photos and then using them to intimidate her has appeared in the Suva Magistrates Court. Shivneel Singh has been charged with 1 count of criminal intimidation. It's alleged Singh developed an online relationship with a 20-year-old Fijian girl and then asked to take her own nude photos and send them to him through Facebook. The victim sent the photos claiming she felt pressured to do so. Singh allegedly then threatened the student, saying he would post her photos online if she refused to have sex with him. He allegedly met the victim and threatened her again when he arrived in the country last Friday. Singh was arrested at the motel where he met the tertiary student. He has been released on bail and a stop departure order has been placed on him. The US is lifting sanctions on Fiji following last month's return to an elected government. A State Department spokesperson says the US is lifting restrictions on financial assistance to the government and certain foreign policy-based visa restrictions on government leaders. The Wall Street Journal reports the US is also exploring opportunities to resume engagement with Fiji's military for training and cooperation on issues of global concern. The sanctions were implemented after the December 2006 coup. The Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee has been selected and will begin analysing the Auditor General's reports on Tuesday. Speaker of the House, Dr. Chico Luveni, has endorsed 5 members from the government and opposition for the committee. Maggie Boyle with the details.
Officially endorsed, the Public Accounts Committee is expected to sit next week to evaluate the Auditor General's reports from 2007 to 2013.
They have submitted their names. I have endorsed. They are yet to sit. From our information, they will start to sit next week on Tuesday. The Public Accounts Committee is already established and ready to work.
Chairing the Public Accounts Committee is Professor Biman Prasad. He will be assisted by Opposition MP Aseri Randrondro. From government, it's the Government Whip, Semi Korola Vesau, Balminder Singh and Sanjit Patel who comprise the full committee. Dr. Chico today clarifying how committee members are selected under the Standing Order 115.
There's going to be 5 members in each of these committees, 3 from the government and 2 from the opposition. So the owners will be on the whips of the government and the opposition to select the representatives to these committees. And the owners will really be on them to select the right people with the right background and those that can constructively contribute to the mandate of the committees.
Dr. Chico says the remaining 7 select and standing committees will be set up soon.
We are not in too much of a hurry to have them formed because we haven't started debating bills that have to be referred to these the committees once they are formed. But they will be formed as soon as the parliamentary process starts rolling.
Only 2 other parliamentary committees have been established. These are the Business and Standing Orders Committee. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
Coming up, a new processing facility in Thavor to boost agricultural exports.
Nama kikirau mena tolu kena bitu. Ena via kadi moliti kena porombuka. Goria na lali ne kabi. Bula FM number 2 ena sere.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. The Suva High Court has rejected a notice of motion for bail by a businessman who faces forgery-related charges. Kin Ho Lo, who was wanted in the US for allegedly manufacturing fake Fijian passports with fake US visas, has been remanded in custody. An application by US authorities to extradite Kin will be heard in the Suva Magistrates Court on Monday. Kin is alleged to have produced the fake passports and visas and then have sold them. The alleged fake documents were discovered in the US and authorities notified their Fijian counterparts. Kin was then arrested here. The court heard Kin operates a nightclub and a shop in Suva. Earlier this week, forged Fijian passports were discovered in Pakistan. There is no evidence to link the 2 incidents. Residents of Fbctv village outside Lautoka are hoping authorities will take stern action against those responsible for a chemical spill in their waters. Christopher Chand reports the substance washed up on the shoreline this morning.
This video footage of the spill along the Fbctv seashore was given to us. The villagers are very concerned about it.
Yeah, we saw a sort of a black cloud of oil coming out from the sea, and there was a big black thing coming out. Then we went there and we checked, and we took the sample which you have seen.
Namuaira says they've lodged a complaint with the Maritime Safety Authority of Fiji and the Department of Environment. They've also kept samples of what they found in the sea.
But the effect of that is still around. And we are not keen on having this because children, they swim on this oil-affected beach. So we are not sure what disease and all that will.
Although the chemical spill washed away later in the day, some sediments were still visible along the beach.
We are very concerned about it, and we are not. We have seen the concern of these villages. What we used to get in the reefs and in the sea nearby, we are not getting it now.
MSF has confirmed this afternoon from the sample that it is not oil. They will send it to the Coronivia Research Station for further testing to determine what it is exactly. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
A family-owned business, Mangere Exports Company Limited, has opened a new processing facility in Tavua. The company exports 36 commodities ranging from root crops to dried fish to New Zealand. Savara Tambua has the story.
A 30-minute drive down Watir Road off the junction on the Kings Road brings you to Mangere Exports Company's new processing facility. This complex replaces a 20-year-old building that was damaged by Cyclone Evan in 2012. The company is owned and operated by Hussein Ali.
Started from 250 kgs of produce initially when the first shipment went to New Zealand, But today I'm proud of my family that it's a family business, and today we are doing 150 tons of produce per year. That's quite a very big milestone achievement, So it was a big struggling for us.
Mangere Exports has been selected by SPC as one of the 42 enterprises that will be assisted and supported through the EU-funded IACT program. The Assistant Minister for Agriculture, Joeli Dawaki, says Mangere Exports Limited is a good example of an enterprise model that needs to be replicated in the country.
This new processing facility will create a rippling positive impact to the company and ultimately to the economy of the country as a whole.
About 70 farmers and their families will be assisted with market access and income by the company. One of the farmers says he receives more cash for his produce from the exporter.
We at the moment $1.20 per kg for the eggplants, and the long bean is $4 kg, and pineapple is $1.20 per kg.
The processing facility isn't just good for farmers in the Western Division. The company sources ginger and seafood from as far as Teilebu and Lambasa, the economic spin-offs reaching far beyond Tavua, which is home to the exporter. Sabera Tambua, FBC News.
An Australian tourist who gave birth in a taxi while on holiday in Fiji is now helping the Nandi Hospital. Jane Wren and the Melbourne-based Fiji Oz Foundation have donated about $500,000 worth of medical supplies to the hospital. Christopher Chand reports.
It's a bittersweet story for Jane, who gave birth prematurely to baby medicine in Fiji in May, then lost her husband a month later. As part of the transition in her life, Jane has decided to help those who helped her in her time of need.
And she was desperate to give back to the Nandi Hospital because of how the beautiful people here looked after the whole family, how they went out of their way at the Nandi Hospital, the nurses. They brought so many clothes for poor Maddie, looked after Jane, looked after Ashley at the time.
Karen Abbott of Fiji Oz Foundation flew to Sydney to meet Jane after she saw her story. A friendship developed, and the rest, they say, is history. The organization has donated medical equipment to the hospital on behalf of Jane and her baby.
We talked, we got all the boxes together. Then I rang the Marsh Foundation and said, look, is there any way that we can get some medical equipment earlier so that we can bring it over? They said yes. So hence here, they donated $500,000 worth of medical equipment. So now all of this medical equipment is now coming to the Nandi Hospital for Jane and Ashley and Maddie's legacy.
The new equipment has come at the right time for the hospital.
Jane is special to this hospital because this is where her firstborn child was actually nurtured. She delivered in here. We looked after her child, and ever since leaving the country she has been in continuous contact with us either through Facebook with the nurses or through phone calls.
A picture of baby Madison remains in the maternity unit where she was taken care of. The gesture from Jane and Maddie to help the hospital obviously has touched many hearts. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
Beautiful story there. We now turn to sports. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Good evening. Coming up, FRU to improve player retention before the next leg of the 7 Series, and police and army ladies battle it out at Sakuna Bowl today. This and more after the break.
यू ट्रेन से मिर्ची एफएम पर रफ्तार में मैं आपके हम सफर साथी कृष्णील शामिल हो चुका हूं और पीजी में विदेश में आप जहां कहीं पर भी हमें सुन रहे हैं, कृष्णील का प्यार आप तमाम दोस्तों तक पहुंचे। हेलो गाइस, मैं हूं डीजे कृष्णील। आप हमें सुन सकते हैं मिर्ची एफएम रफ्तार में मंडे टू फ्राइडे शाम 3 से लेकर रात 7 तक हम आपको रॉक कराएंगे। मिर्ची एफएम इट्स हॉट। अब दिल करता है हौले हौले से मैं तो खुद को गले लगाऊं।
Former Fiji Sevens rep Pio Tawai's decision to take up a lucrative contract overseas will not go unchallenged by Fiji Rugby Union. The lanky forward signed a contract with FRU before departing for a 6-month playing stint in Sri Lanka worth $50,000.
We do not want to begrudge or hold back players from going to better their lot. All we ask is fairness to FRU. FRU invests a lot of time and money and resources into players. The least we ask is that players are open and frank with us. As you know, one of the tenets of our game is integrity.
The focus is now to retain a full-strength squad through legally binding contracts before the next leg of the RB Sevens World Series in December.
I think Mr. Ryan has now confirmed another 11 players that we want to issue contracts to. And those players are now in camp, so we have to try and get them to sign the contracts.
Meanwhile, Rugby House is looking forward to host an AGM this year. A review of its constitution is in the pipeline in order to host this meeting.
It seems now that we have to go probably up to Parliament to seek special instruments to be able to change parts of the constitution.
The FRU had to call off 2 AGMs this year due to a lack of quorum from member unions. The Vodafone Flying Fijians coach John McKee says the opposed training session against Georgia last night proved beneficial for his side. Fiji and Georgia are both based in France for the November internationals. McKee says it was a good outing for the team ahead of test matches against France, Wales and the USA. The forwards worked for 60 minutes on scrums and lineouts while the backs practiced their plays in defense. McKee says the session was beneficial in that it allowed them to try things they had been working on in match conditions and under pressure. Meanwhile, European-based Flying Fijians have returned to their clubs for their weekend games and will reassemble on Sunday in Marseille. It was women only today at the annual ANZ Ratu Sakuna Bowl. Netball and volleyball games saw police and army ladies battling it out. Josephine Navula reports.
Members of the army and police forces turned up in full force to stake a claim in netball and volleyball for the 2014 ANZ Ratu Sakuna Bowl title. The Fiji Police Force say they have come into the competition this year with only one aim.
Just to come and win and have fun in this family day competition.
The force also aims to create a stronger bond with their counterparts during the tournament.
The first purpose of coming into this competition is to be able to mingle around with our counterparts from the military.
Both the forces featured 5 teams, each in the netball and volleyball games.
There is a police service team, there is a police for netball and the police veteran for netball. And there is a police wives netball team and the police wives and the wives veteran team. And also in the volleyball competition, we have the service team and the wives team.
Meanwhile, the Ratu Sakuna Bowl Rugby Challenge will be held at the ANZ Stadium in Suva tomorrow. Josephine Vula, FBC Sports.
Members of the Fiji Powerlifting Federation are currently taking part in a 3-day training program at the Fiji National Sports Commission. The Sports Commission has brought in a former powerlifting world champion to help the Fiji athletes understand the sport better.
We're going through the International Powerlifting Federation rules, which governs the whole world, as you can imagine, and we're going through that step by step, so they've got a really good knowledge of what the rules are, and we only go by international rules, so there is no discrepancy between country and country. We'll follow the same rules, and once they've done that, once we've gone through the clinic, then they'll all sit a 90-minute exam, and then on Saturday or tomorrow we'll do a practical, so they'll have an overall knowledge of what is expected.
The training program ends tomorrow. The Vodafone Fiji Under-20 football team is all set to make the country proud. They were farewelled in Suva today before departing for Australia on Sunday, where they play 4 warm-up games before flying to New Zealand to take part in the OFC President's Cup. Rohit Deo caught up with the team today.
The Vodafone Fiji Under-20 football team players looked in relaxed mood today as they were farewelled by their sponsors with a morning tea. With the final squad named, officials and players have their work cut out leading up to the World Cup next year.
8 months coming up, which is going to be pretty exciting for the team, I think for the country. And this tour to Australia and New Zealand is the beginning of that. And I think expectations have to be that we get to the World Cup and we perform well, and obviously with the help of our sponsors and Fiji Football, we hope to do that.
The players know they have huge responsibilities on their shoulders, as for the first time they will fly the Fiji flag at a FIFA World Cup event. They will remember this for a very long time, and for sure they want to make some good memories.
It's a very big chance for us, and as team like playing in the World Cup, it's not an easy team. As that's Brazil and Germany. Playing with those guys is really tough. We must so we try to compete with how we can improve.
With the Fiji senior team going down the ladder day by day of the FIFA rankings, this just may be our chance to showcase to the world what our future soccer stars are capable of. Rohit Deo, FBC Sports.
That was your sports for tonight. Good evening.
Vodafone and Air Terminal Services have launched a new flight information SMS service that allows you to get flight details on your mobile. The mobile communications provider says the new platform will bring ease of flight information to customers at their fingertips.
Now people can know what time a particular flight arrives or departs by simply dialing *287#. And with a simple click of your keypads, accessing flight information has never been this easier. We have designed this service with our partners ATS to add value to the many services they provide, and also allow traveling customers and members of the public easy access on flight information.
The service is provided via text platform, giving the time for each flight that is arriving and departing. Weather time now with Trish.
Thank you, Jackie. Cloudy periods with some showers were experienced over most parts of the country today. Looking at temperatures today, Suva hit 29, Nadi 30, Lautoka 33, Ba also with 33, Savu Savu 28, and Lambasa 31. Tomorrow's outlook, there could be some showers over Vanua Levu, Northern Lao, the interior and eastern parts of Viti Levu. Elsewhere, fine apart from afternoon or evening showers. This stunning sunset was captured by our very own Taniela Veitata at Pacific Harbour. You can also send in your scenic photos to citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj.
Thanks so much for that, Trish. The main points again. The Attorney General, Ayaside Qayyum, says Fiji is committed to ratifying several international human rights treaties. A 22-year-old US student who allegedly used Facebook to lure a girl into sending explicit photos and then using them to intimidate her has appeared in the Suva Magistrates Court, and the US has lifted sanctions against Fiji after last month's general elections. To our poll segment, our question this week: should there be a fireworks ban? Visit our FBC website www.fbc.com.fj to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. That's it from us for tonight. Amrita Priyadarshini will sit in for me from tomorrow. I'll see you in about 2 weeks. Till then, bye for now.